And good Wednesday morning, peeps. We've got our giveaway tool all set to roll here. Let's check out the comments first, though, and then no. See, here I am changing my mind. You'd think I hadn't done this before. Practice, practice, practice. Start collecting comments. There we go. It is ready collecting comments, and it says two because I've already pre-programmed two up here. And the two that I have pre-programmed up here is because we're live streaming on, well, we are on Twitter too, but Twitter doesn't collect comments, so we're doing it on YouTube and Facebook, and there you go. And good morning, Wednesday morning, peeps. Yep, here we go. So I'm going to hide all this, and I'm going to turn off the comment stream here too. Banners. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. I'm going to be putting in our quote of the day and getting that banner off there because you guys know the drill. The good morning peeps. Grab your cup. Meet up in the comments. Get to know your newest best friend. And you know what it takes to have these YouTube podcasts and Facebook things work. Like, follow, and most importantly, comment. That's the big goal as we go on this journey together. Today's author is Flannery O'Connor. Now she is Southern. She was Southern and Catholic, and a very prolific short story writer. I did pull up an article about her that I'll share with you after we get through this quote of hers. Anybody who has survived his childhood has enough information about life to last him the rest of his days. And she was Southern and she was devoutly Catholic. And both of those conditions, especially for the time period which she lived, which she did most of her writing about mid-last century, right? I mean, it's so wild to think that that's coming up on 100 years, you know? It just doesn't feel like it should be. I still feel like I should be 21, not 62, right? Anybody who has survived his childhood has enough information about life to last him the rest of his days. Back then, that was before the baby boomers, right? Before the baby boomers had idealized childhoods. I really, technically I'm a baby boomer depending on how folks slice it. A lot of them tend to make me at the end of the baby boom. But, honestly, I've got, my astrology I've got Pluto in Virgo, not Leo, and there's a huge difference between the two in my estimation. And the kids who grew up, who were more than 3 years younger than I am, had a wholly different world than the kids that grew up between the war and who were born between the war, World War II, and the late 50s. I would say even the children born during the war had more in common with that generation than I feel. So I really don't feel, I mean, I remember the 60s. I'm old enough to remember the 60s, but I was born in the 60s. So it's from a childhood. It's looking at it from, there's been a couple movies and shows and stuff by writers that were about my age that wrote about their childhood. Wonder Years was one of them, so I'm a little bit younger than those guys. There's the other one with Macaulay Culkin. And, but yeah, long time ago those movies were, and a long time ago that time was. And an even longer time ago, Flannery O'Connor was writing this. Anybody who has survived childhood has enough information about life to last him the rest of his days. Because childhood was not so protected in her day and in her circumstances. Being from the South, being devoutly Catholic, there was there there was and there is a resurgence of, I must say, a paternalism, uh, very much an deference to authoritarian principles. So as a child, you were you had to be quiet. You didn't speak unless spoken to. There was a lot, not just some. There was a lot of prescriptions about what you could and couldn't do as a child. When I was a kid, some of that, I was in the South too, and the part of the South, hillbilly South that I was part of, was resistant to change. So some of that did hail, and I was around, at that age, I was around my grandparents' generation. So some of that is highly resonant to me, although my grandparents encouraged me to ask every question in the world. There was a difference between being with them in private as opposed to being with them in public. I was expected to have public behavior, and the public was not safe, right? You had to watch yourself because you had to walk in a very prescribed path, especially if you were a child, to keep you safe and to keep the family safe, and just to avoid the weirdness that was the adult world, right? It was fraught with booby traps. You just knew that. And people pretending to give you candy and really meaning to hurt you. And that wasn't just, stranger danger. That was just society. That would even happen especially in the church. And the church that we would go to would be Baptist church, but this Flannery O'Connor did the Catholic church. But as we know from the many lawsuits, the Catholic church was not exactly safe, especially for young boys either, right? But that the society's nod to authority helped perpetuate those things. So as a child, if you survived that, if you knew how to negotiate having no power and still thriving, that was enough information to last you the rest of your days. You knew how the world worked, and you knew how to step through the gauntlet and make it out alive. And not everybody did. Not everybody did. When you do survive, there's a romanticization about childhood and the past, and you try to let go of the bad memories and you cling on to the good ones, which is a wonderful way of survival. However, it also distorts to the newest generation what was going on, right? And as a writer, you are going to write flat characters and not very interesting stories or books if you don't tell it true. I mean, like Emily Dickinson's tell it true, but tell it slant. And I'm gonna pop off here because I want to share another screen with you guys. And this is because I'm trying to share with you and do a little bit of research myself about the authors that I'm highlighting these days. Let's see if we can see that. You can't see it yet, but you will be. Here we go. This is what I came up with, because Flannery O'Connor was pre-internet days. She would not have had an author website, but this is a wonderful article, and it shows how she influenced Bruce Springsteen, and that continuity, comes in. And what was it saying that there's a meanness to her characters, and the author here is trying to do the discrepancy between the meanness of the characters and her, how complicated her characters were. But because she's an author, she's writing truly about those characters, because she's a Southerner and because she's a Catholic and has that hope in humanity. She can see their meanness and still love them. And to be a writer and to write them, you have to love them through their meanness, in spite of themselves. But you have to see all of them, right? Anyway, that's my little Flannery O'Connor thing going on right now. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go back to the StreamYard because we're out of time. That's how fast this goes. And we're going to draw. We're going to draw because we know I win a chicken dinner. But we're going to draw because I love to end on the confetti. It's the confetti. And on that, I will see you tomorrow, peeps. No surgery for me tomorrow, so I will be live again tomorrow. And have a blessed day.